All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Given, episode 4.
Okay.
Backstory
All right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Some people from your past, Sato, are here, and apparently you don't want to see them right now.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of pain associated with this past, and also some potential angles of where there might have been a band falling out of sorts.
Yeah, and Uenoyama, good luck. Do your best to support him and be there for him. But at the same time, it's probably going to be difficult because Sato doesn't really want to talk about it. I get the feeling. So
and there's someone that's passed away.
Right, and we don't know what the circumstances of that were.
Not.
And depending on what those are, that can change things a lot. Yeah.
And the fact that Sato has their guitar means there might have been a complicated connection there.
Yep.
One that's not necessarily as wholesome.
Right.
So we'll see where that leads. But the idea that, Sato's a part of your band now. You guys are gonna be working together, playing together. There's a lot of cool progression that we can get in with this.
Yes.
And Uenoyama is very much kind of coming to terms with a lot of the unique feelings he has about this situation.
And this person.
Yeah. And then of course we've got Haruki and Kaji just being absolute bros throughout this whole thing. Just supporting them, and I'm here for it. Let's get more of that.
Let's see how Sato turns into the person that we see in the OP.
Yeah. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. All right, so a very relaxed episode.
Yep.
We got our effect pedal setup situated. He doesn't have enough money for it right now.
Right.
But he's going to set up a plan to where they're going to hold on to it for him until he has enough.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I love the way they're making this incremental feeling of progress without it being based around the idea of Sato just suddenly getting better at the guitar.
Sure.
Because that's not going to happen. That's not realistic.
Right.
So...
I
I was just going to say, also, seeing them just interacting and being around each other gets us more opportunities to be attached to them in these contexts that don't go into the performance side of music.
Exactly. It could be very easy for a story in this sort of setup to kind of not develop as much the romantic or just the connection of them as friends, because it showcases more of the connection of them as bandmates, right?
Or partners, really.
Right,
like
exactly.
There's all this middle ground that's lovely, and it's where most of the magic happens when you have little moments of he's about to walk into the two people walking outside him, and Uenoyama just kind of nudges him back in and is like, no, hold on. Because Sato is kind of an airhead. Like, he really is. But there's also this other side about him that's like, wait, protect. Like, very much like, hold on. You are a soft boy. I will protect you. But I will
greet you with head pat.
Exactly. But we also got a hint of maybe something that could have been a not so positive version of that within the context of them maybe being some middle school stuff that went on.
Right.
Potentially some bullying.
Yeah, and that's the kind of thing where, since we didn't hear what was said, right. It could have been something as, like there's a lot of potential options of what it could have been.
Yep.
It could have been something as crazy as, like, oh, Sato was actually, like, he was a crazy, awful person, back in middle school or something like that. Or... someone spread rumors about him, because what it makes me think is that there were rumors about him being gay, right? And it's like, okay, but then of course, because kids and and things like that, right? That potentially is like, or potentially how it's seen in Japan. I don't know what it's like over there. Then it's like, ooh, this this thing that needs to be kept secret or whatever, right? But given that someone died, could also see it being of another sort.
Yeah, there's a couple things that are just really just left up in the air right now. And I love that this mystery is being kept as a mystery right now because there's no reason in the story for it to be brought up in any hard, detailed way because Sato is so quiet. So the idea that Uenoyama has this wonderful, just like, kind of dynamic with him where he's like, oh, come on, buddy, let's go over here. Come on. Yeah. And they're just kind of moving around together, spending all this time together. It's so good because I love shared passions where the people are not at the same level of the passion. One of the things that's really special about sports anime is oftentimes you have characters that are rivals and they're competing for their levels of passion.
Yes.
And it's not like, one of them is a villain or an antagonist or something. They're cheering each other on. They're like, let's go all the way. There's something really sweet and wholesome about the idea of passion expressed in different ways so that when it's one person's turn to take the lead on something, the other goes, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. And then the other person kind of swings back and gets the lead when they realize, oh, they're writing a song for me and they remembered the exact song. Oh my God, this is so sweet.
And because one of the things that I have personally felt sometimes in my own life when I'm getting introduced to things is that if the person introducing me to something is someone whose passion exceeds mine by potentially a large margin, and their experience also exceeds mine, right?
Yeah.
Then it can be kind of daunting because then it's like, well, you this is your thing, right? How do I figure out how I would enjoy this thing, right? When I know I'm not at your level of passion, right? So how do I find out, my own relationship with this thing that I might enjoy, right?
Yeah, and that's a very common journey with a lot of people dealing with passion and stuff is the idea that when you have something that speaks to you, it doesn't have to be something that you share, and it doesn't have to be something that necessarily you even really look at other people's passion of. It's just something that's yours.
Sure.
You really care about it, and in this case here, Uenoyama is very, very obvious in what his passion is. He's very passionate about guitar, music especially as well, and everyone around him knows it. But there's been a period of time in his life, however long it's been, that he has not been that passionate about it. And now that his passion is being stirred up again, everyone's like, what happened? What's different? Something's changed.
Yep.
Well, the thing that's funny about it is that really, in a lot of ways, Sato didn't give him passion for that.
No.
At all. Sato doesn't really have that much passion to give.
Nope.
It's just the idea that he's excited that he can watch someone else go through that same process and build up their passion for it. It's a vicarious loop of sorts. It creates this wonderful feedback system. Yeah.
Right. And why I love the way that it's sort of showcased here of this person with the passion and the experience that is bringing this other person into it.
Yeah.
Is that Uenoyama is doing a fantastic job of basically not smothering Sato. Not literally, but like in this whole thing of him getting used to figuring out how to do this whole music thing, right? Oh, this is what an effect pedal is and things like that.
Sure.
Well, there is the part of him that's like, I'm not going to be holding back. I'm going to be whipping you into shape and everything, right?
I think he's actually beginning the smothering, if you will, by literally spending every single chance of time he can with Sato. The thing is that Sato really likes him.
Well, there's the
difference
there's the smothering from the standpoint of their personal relationship as people, and then there's smothering from the standpoint of their relationships with music. And I feel like when it comes to their relationships with music, Uenoyama is doing a pretty good job so far of making sure that he's stoking Sato's passions for music rather than demanding that Sato sort of match his passion levels, right? Because clearly that's not going to happen.
Well, I don't think there's ever been a hint of him potentially doing that.
Right.
Yeah, because Sato is so different from him. Yeah.
And I would say that's something that I just really appreciate that they have showcased here because it can be very. I feel like it can be something that can be easy to slip into, not because you necessarily will be actively demanding someone's passion to be at the same level as your own. But if your own passion is basically just running rampant, right, then it can kind of smother the other person's passion. And so in this situation here with Uenoyama being the person that is basically helping bring Sato into this, I like that he is putting his own passion on the back burner. He's not necessarily talking about the times where he's, spending, like, staying up late into the night making a song for him. He only talks about that when it's actually brought up, right? And then he's like, oh, yeah, this is what I've been doing,
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's something that is a small detail. It doesn't necessarily have to be important. There doesn't need to have been, like, the kind of, like, the stuff that I'm reading into it as far as thought behind it doesn't need to have been there from, like, the creator of the series, But it's something that I personally really appreciate, because that can be something that can make things, it can make a new cool thing that much more welcoming to someone that is not familiar with it, right? When it's the, okay, yeah, you have the space to kind of figure out exactly how you relate to this thing, how you're going to enjoy it, and all of that stuff.
Right, yeah. Uenoyama is a very good teacher in that regard. I think a lot of people don't have the skill necessarily to be a teacher. There's a lot of this that is in some ways kind of rigged for, Uenoyama to succeed here, because Sato is literally expressing no real hard, like, defined negative, stuff with regards to anything. So in that regard, it's also something where Sato needs to start showing a little bit of himself a little bit, so that he can also then give a little bit of guidance to Uenoyama, or Uenoyama will end up, I would say, actually pushing him in a direction that is what he knows, which is something that I think is rather interesting here, is that really the only reason why this is happening is because Sato asked him directly, can you please teach me? Right. And Uenoyama, I don't think, is necessarily the kind of person that would have sought out to teach Sato anything. Yep. If anything, Uenoyama seems like the kind of person that actually probably kind of looks down on people that aren't actually that serious about their passion and stuff like that, because of some little things that he's shown across these few episodes. So the fact that Sato is eagerly interested but not showing actually where his passion in the individual sides of learning guitar and music lies means that this is working out very well. But the looming darkness over the horizon of some kind of past stuff with Sato, and some kind of tie-in to the idea of characters that are in his past that are passionate or were passionate about music, means that the drama has not started yet.
Exactly.
We're still being kind of left in the sweet, wholesome stage of everything is easy, nothing is really being tested now.
No real conflict, or there's conflict out there, but they don't need to deal with it at the moment, right? Uenoyama can say, hey, you can just bring it up another time whenever you're feeling like it.
There's more conflict in Ritsuka's desire to get Kaji to notice her than there is in the entire dynamic of Uenoyama and Sato, which is sweet, I would say, because one of the things that's really interesting about a character that's so, or a person really, that's so single-minded in their passion, is they're basically telling the world, hey, this is the key or the gateway into my heart.
Sure.
And a lot of people will be like, that's cool and all, but like let's go into this other angle. And they're like, I don't care. I don't actually care.
Yeah. In some ways, it can actually be kind of hard, because then if it's the thing of the, oh, well, I don't have that key, right? Yeah. Then it can feel like, okay, I don't have a way to connect to this person, maybe, right?
Right, but that's actually the thing, is that Uenoyama is saying, no, like, this is it. This is all of it. So you have the key, Sato. That's just something like...
No, Sato does for sure. Yeah.
No, like, but that's the thing, is that, like, even the girl, who cares about her name, really? But, like, she's...
I get the feeling she's going to turn into a mean girl pretty soon.
I actually don't think she's going to be much of a character at all. I think she's more just a thing of realizing that, she's the reason for other people to talk about their dynamic.
Sure.
Because she has a slight crush on Uenoyama, and she's going to realize that he doesn't basically swing that way. So, having that be something where she doesn't necessarily ask him about his music because it's something where maybe it's a bit intimidating.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just something that she's not necessarily into, but it is there. It is the way in which she could connect with him if she wanted to. So it's not difficult. But all right. If we're gonna get into the past stuff, we have characters with a reason to talk about it now.
We do. Yep. Yeah, and they might not just stick to talking amongst themselves on the sidelines.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I'm worried about. Because
I really hope we don't get into that.
Yeah, because I've like with the first few episodes of this show, it has absolutely sold me on the idea of just a really sweet, wholesome story of these two boys, right?
Yep.
And yeah, they're going to learn music and they're going to play at a concert or something like that. We'll get the stuff from the OP and it'll be great, right?
They'll get closer and closer.
They'll get closer and closer and they'll help each other grow along the way, and it's going to be fantastic, right? But
there's going to be drama eventually.
But yeah, it's the thing of it's very easy and there's reasons why in a lot of romance stories they'll have a lot of drama in them, right? And you know, that doesn't mean that that's a bad thing. It can totally work out and everything.
Yeah.
But there was that part of me that was like, but couldn't we just have this be like a sweet, wholesome show?
With no drama?
With no drama, you know.
That OP basically said no. Like thinking back on that OP now, as we get closer and closer to like some kind of, you know, past story reveal for Sato, there's very much the vibe of, no, Sato's been through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And it's something where, you know, what is those cheesy phrases where it's like, it's those that smile the brightest or shine the brightest that are like, you know, feeling the most pain or what have you.
Yeah, basic Pinterest boards, you know.
It's pretty much that,
right.
yeah. And I very much feel that with Sato in that he's able to somehow put up this vibe that he's at peace, or at the very least he's got this kind of whole mellow kind of vibe to him.
Sure.
But I don't think that's been his life up until now. I think he's been through a lot of chaotic turmoil.
The two big things that stand out to me from the OP is, one, the string breaking.
Yes.
Right? Because like guitar strings, they're metal. That, like, yes, they can totally break, but like
guitar strings regularly break.
Yeah, they regularly break.
Yeah.
But like that implies to me a lot of tension, right? In order to make that happen. But then
it's kind of the motif of guitar music, is that
that's how you get the music. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the other thing that really stands out to me about the OP is the way that Sato is drawn when he's playing the guitar at the end. Now
versus all the times before that.
Exactly.
Yeah. The lighting. Yeah.
One, yes, he looks a lot more confident, right? And he's playing the guitar, so clearly he's going to get pretty good at it, pretty confident with singing, things like that. But also just with like physically the way he's drawn, he looks bigger, stronger. And that, you know, could totally just be a stylistic choice, you know, accentuating how awesome and alive he feels in that moment, right?
Sure.
But that gives me the vibe of like, no. There's going to be a lot of struggles that will come between now and then. It's not just going to be recovering from past stuff, right? It's going to be pushing through some shit. And yeah, that
So far, basically, we're in a story where there doesn't need to be an antagonist.
Right.
And what I think you're worried about, and I very much vibe with this, is the idea that we could end up getting antagonists of sorts. And we don't really need that in this story.
Yeah.
But I will say, we have been set up for something like this by the fact that there is a literal death that has been in this story.
Yeah.
And there is no reason for a character to have died this young.
And this is the high school setting anime, right? You know, it's
no one should be dying here.
You're right, exactly.
So if anyone died,
they either got the anime
down.
cough or some shit went down.
Or car accident at the next best, basically.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, it was an accident. There's nothing we could have done here. Or it's someone was being a bit violent and pushed them off a building or something.
Right.
Or there's a suicide or something like that. Yep. There's a whole bunch of really, really like intense, darker things that we could get into. And I very much feel like the OP is setting us up for there will be dark moments in this story. It will get there. But at the end of it, we're going to have basically this rising up story of them going above all that.
Right. And in a lot of ways, it does fit thematically, given that we have both romance and music.
Yes.
And, you know, love, death, right? You know, those are the core themes of, you know, of all of it, right?
Yes.
So, okay. But at the same time, could we just keep this as like a wholesome, sweet, you know, nothing bad happening kind of show? You know?
Oh my god. I really am worried that it's going to be something like some kind of bigotry motivated violence. Like that's the kind of shit I'm really worried about.
And the other thing that I'm worried about is that someone having died in the past. Okay. That and whatever the motivations end up being for that, I feel like the way that they end up being dealt with in the present is a lot more straightforward because you can't change the past, right?
Yes.
But if there ends up being something where like that happened in the past and then something like that starts to happen again, you know, then that makes me scared.
I will say, though, the reason why Kaji and Haruki are in this story is to protect our boys from any kind of shit like that happening. That's why they're older. That's why they look like they can handle themselves in terms of their emotional well-being, but also their physical well-being, because Kaji be ripped.
Kaji be ripped AF, and
Haruki be our dad, you know.
That's right. But Kaji, I'll bet, could absolutely utilize some of the benefits of people assuming that he looks thuggish, even though he is a total sweetheart.
He's an absolute, just like, a Dorcas teddy bear.
Yep. So, you know, if there ever is a point where anyone's starting to start shit, I could totally
like,
just see,
Oi.
You shouldn't do that.
Yeah, back off.
Right. Please. Yeah. he like bites off the please like in his mind because, you know, he's like, nope, that'll ruin the
I'll
act,
like,
you know.
lose like 80 of my intimidating points.
Yeah.
Right now I'm at like 91 out of 100.
He just sort of mumbles it like, hey, would you mind backing off? Yeah.
But that would be so good. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access. You can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.